English tenses: present, past, future. Final review lesson transcript.
Hi everybody, I am teacher Vlad, and the best, the most beautiful and the most effective speaking training system, Beautiful English. I am very glad that you have passed the English Grammar Tenses course, learned all the tense forms and start speaking fluently and correctly. I believe, and I even sure, that anyone who has passed all my English courses can start speaking English fluently and correctly, but only on the condition that he or she follows all my instructions and do all the exercises properly. At that, one should also know that in order to master English on a high level and start speaking fluently and correctly, one should at least sometimes talk with English-speaking people, read English books, watch English movies, and try to use as more English as possible in one's everyday life. Do you remember? In order to learn speaking English, you should speak English. There isn't any other way to learn speaking English. I also very thankful to everybody who worked hard to pass all the lessons of the English Grammar Tenses course. I know that it isn't easy to learn speaking English if you want to master it on a high level. Just to watch some short videos, repeat some sentences after a teacher, and to forget them the following day isn't enough to master English on a high level. I know that one should work hard and for a long time to get good results in learning speaking English. Today, we will summarize all the learning material on the English Grammar Tenses so that you could have the whole picture of the whole course in your brain. I hope you have learned that there are 3 tenses in English language: the present, the past, and the future. There are also 4 tense forms in each tense: indefinite, simple, continuous, progressive, perfect, and perfect continuous. The combination of one or another tense with one or another tense form gives us a certain grammar tense. At first, and it is very important, you should understand the difference between simple and perfect forms. Simple forms describe events that aren't connected with the present or with the moment of speech. I went to school yesterday. It is most likely today when you speak about you're going to school yesterday, and of course neither the event itself nor yesterday are connected with the present or with the moment of speech. However, if we take events that take place today, for example, we will see that they happen during a period of time that started at midnight and will be finished in 24 hours. Everything that happened within these 24 hours happens today. That is why all the events that happen within these 24 hours are connected with the moment of speech. Because when I say today, it means that I am somewhere in the period of time that lasts 24 hours. I have passed the exam today. You are talking, but today isn't finished yet. Since the period of time isn't finished, it is connected with the moment of speech. Since it is connected with the moment of speech, it should be described with a perfect form. You should also use a perfect form if you tell your friend about the exam, for example, that you have passed this morning, this week, this month, this year, this century, or even this millennium. Reasoning logically, we should admit that events that happened this period of time happened in the past. Events themselves aren't connected with the moment of speech. And in many other languages, events like those are described with simple forms and with the past tense. As for English, the period of time is more important than an event itself. And in the case with the exam that you have passed this century, for example, the exam itself isn't important to define a grammar tense. It is obvious that the event happened in the past, perhaps a week, 10, 20, or even 99 years ago, and of course it isn't connected with the moment of speech. What is really important to define a grammar tense in English is that the period of time, this century, isn't finished yet. Since it isn't finished yet, any event that happens within this period of time is connected with the moment of speech, because the moment of speech is also within this uncompleted time period. That is why all the past events that happen this period of time should be described with the present perfect tense. Now let's have a look at this sentence. I passed the exam in the morning. We see that the sentence is in the past simple tense. To understand why, we should see the difference between this morning and in the morning. You can say this morning only in the morning. And if you say this morning in the morning, morning is still ongoing. Morning still isn't finished. This morning is a time period that starts at 4 o'clock in the morning and is finished at noon. Anything that happens within this period of time happens this morning and should be described with the present perfect tense. However, if you tell about your past exam that you passed in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, you say, I passed the exam in the morning. You use the past simple tense because the time in the afternoon or in the evening, moment of speech, isn't connected with the time when the event happened, morning. Since the time when an event happens isn't connected with the moment of speech, present, we should use simple forms to describe that event. Every time you try to make an English sentence, remember about what we have just discussed about simple and perfect forms. Now let's review all the tense forms. Simple forms. Present simple. I like ice cream. It is a fact. I like ice cream in general. I eat ice cream every day, often, seldom, once a week, and so on. Past simple. I ate a lot of ice cream in childhood. Events that happened in the past, some time ago, yesterday, last week, months, and so on. I read a book yesterday. I left a minute ago. Future simple. Events that will happen in some time, tomorrow, next week, months, and so on. He will go to school by bus tomorrow. I will read a book tomorrow. I will come next week. I will leave in a minute. Continuous forms. Present continuous. Events that are happening in the moment of speech. I am driving my car now. I am driving and I am speaking about driving my car. Or it can be ongoing events that happen at this moment or at the moment when another continuous event is unfolding. At that, the present continuous tense isn't connected with a certain time. Past continuous. Unlike to the present continuous tense, the past continuous tense is connected or attached either to a certain time in the past or to a certain period of time. You were eating ice cream at 12 o'clock yesterday. I was sleeping when she came. I was swimming while she was reading. I was eating breakfast yesterday in the morning. Future continuous. The same as with the past continuous. Events that will be unfolding at a certain time or during some period of time in the future. You will be eating ice cream at 12 o'clock tomorrow. I will be sleeping when she comes. Pay attention and remember that the second verb is in the present tense. Do you remember? In the sentences with when, if, as soon as, and so on, the second verb should be in the present tense. I will be swimming while she is reading. Perfect forms. Present perfect. An event is either completed or still ongoing. She has eaten a lot of ice cream this week. He has just finished working. They have already bought a house. I have never been to America. Past perfect. She had already gone when a telephone rang. I hope you remember that there is past 1 and past 2 in the past perfect tense, and the sentence itself consists of two parts. A verb in the first sentence, past 2, is in the past perfect tense. She had already gone. A verb in the second sentence, past 1, is in the past simple, ran. I have already read a book when she came. They had already left before it started to rain. Future perfect. Events that will have happened either by a certain time in the future or before another future event. They will have gone to school by this time tomorrow. I will have read the book by tomorrow. They will have left when she comes. The second verb is in the present tense. We will have gone before rain stops. Perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous. Events that started in the past and still ongoing or finished recently. I have been driving my car since the year 2010. Past perfect continuous. Events that were unfolding in the past for some time before another past event happened. I had been sleeping for an hour when she came. They had been waiting for 20 minutes before the bus arrived. I was tired after I have been working the whole evening. Future perfect continuous. Events that will be unfolding for some time in the future by a certain time when or before another future event happens. I will have been driving for 2 hours when I see the sea. He will have been reading for 2 hours before his father returns from work. They will have been traveling for 6 days by Sunday. Look at all the slides one more time and try to understand and remember how to make correct English sentences in all the grammar tenses. In the next slide, you will see the algorithm of choosing a tense form for one or another statement. At first, you should define a tense. Then you should define what tense form you should choose to make a correct sentence. And at last, you should make a correct sentence. Underneath, we see examples. Past simple. I slept yesterday. Past continuous. I was sleeping at 5 o'clock yesterday. Past perfect. I had already woken up when she came. Past perfect continuous. I have been sleeping for 2 hours when she came. Present simple. I sleep often. Present continuous. I am sleeping at the moment. Present perfect. I have already woken up. Present perfect continuous. I have already been sleeping for 2 hours. Future simple. I will sleep long. Future continuous. I will be sleeping at night. Future perfect. I will have woken up by 12 o'clock. Future perfect continuous. I will have been sleeping for 2 hours when she comes. At last, we have passed all the forms of English grammar tenses course in active voice. You see that there are many of them. You should understand that if you don't have automatic speaking skills or they aren't developed enough, you will not be able to define quickly what grammar tense to use while speaking with your English-speaking friends. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to speak English if you cannot make correct sentences. You should try to speak every time you have a chance to talk with English-speaking people. Whether you can speak correctly or not, you should always try to speak English. While speaking, you will see your mistakes and you will see what kind of sentences is difficult for you to make. Try to remember all those difficulties, return to the English Grammar Tenses course and review lessons that can help you to speak fluently and correctly. I have created this course to help all the English learners to understand grammar and to get automatic speaking skills. However, to get automatic speaking skills, you should follow all my instructions and do all the speaking exercises properly. If you want to master English on a high level, you should also learn English grammar tenses in passive voice. That is why stay with us and proceed to the English grammar tenses passive voice course that will be released soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the mailing list and to my YouTube channel. Like or dislike and express your opinion about the English Grammar Tenses course. Good luck and all the best. See you in the next course.